Chosen one, you did not find this message by chance. The hand of the Most High has drawn you to this moment with precision and intent, not as coincidence, but as divine appointment. Heaven has been aligning time, events, and unseen movements around you, and now the silence that surrounded certain matters is beginning to give way. Anointed one, the stirring you have felt, the quiet unrest without a clear source, has been a signal, not confusion. You are standing at the threshold of a supernatural turning, where what was delayed is about to be revealed, and what was restrained is preparing to move. Anointed one, hear this with clarity and reverence. You are not merely approaching change, you are approaching a shift that carries weight, authority, and consequence. Scripture reminds us that the vision awaits an appointed time, and though it tarries, it will not lie, as spoken in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. This is the season where discernment becomes protection and awareness becomes alignment. There is a man connected to your path whose presence holds significance in what is unfolding, and heaven is not silent about it. You are not being warned to fear, but to be prepared. Elevation, transfer, and transformation often arrive wrapped in instruction, not spectacle. God's reminders do not always come through thunder or explanation, but sometimes through something quiet, steady, and familiar that the soul can rest in when clarity is needed. What has been prepared remains gently present, waiting in peace. Chosen one, there is a reason this message is pressing on your spirit with weight and urgency. You are not encountering these words by accident, and you are not sensing this tension without cause. I speak to you as one who has walked through seasons where nothing looked wrong on the surface, yet everything inside knew something was off. There are moments when heaven begins to tighten the air around a situation, not to alarm you, but to awaken discernment. This is one of those moments. There is a man connected to your life, close enough to influence your atmosphere, close enough to affect your clarity, and heaven is drawing your attention now because the season has shifted. Anointed one, you have likely watched him move through routines, speak politely, show up consistently, and blend in without raising suspicion. On the outside, nothing appeared extreme. I remember seasons where I questioned my own instincts because the evidence was subtle and the signs were quiet. But discernment rarely arrives loudly. It arrives as a disturbance that refuses to settle. The storm inside this man has not been visible to others, but your spirit has felt its pressure. Heaven has allowed you to notice, not because you are fearful, but because you are positioned to perceive what others overlook. Chosen one, this is not about accusation, this is about alignment. When heaven prepares to elevate you, it also begins to reveal what cannot go with you. There are times when God allows someone to remain close longer than you understand, not because they belong in your future, but because their exposure is tied to your release. I have seen this pattern repeat in my own life and in the lives of others I have walked with. Delays that made no sense, resistance that felt personal, energy drains that could not be explained by circumstance alone. Later, clarity came and the weight lifted. That is the pattern unfolding now. Anointed one, the unrest you felt was not imagination. It was the Holy Spirit pressing gently, consistently, patiently. Sleepless nights, repeated thoughts that circled without resolution, a sense of heaviness after interactions that should have felt neutral. These are not signs of weakness, they are signs of sensitivity to truth. Heaven does not whisper to frighten you, heaven whispers to prepare you. As it is written, nothing hidden remains concealed forever, and what is spoken in darkness eventually meets the light. This is not a threat, it is a promise of alignment. Chosen one. There comes a moment when truth no longer needs to be forced because it begins to surface on its own. What is approaching is not chaos, it is correction. I know how unsettling this phase can feel because it sits between knowing and seeing. You sense that something is ending, but you do not yet see how. Heaven is asking you to stay awake, not anxious, alert, not reactive. This shift will touch more than one life, but your role is not to control the outcome. Your role is to stand in clarity while God does the separating. Anointed one, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not being warned because you are in danger. You are being warned because you are protected. Heaven always speaks before it moves, and this moment marks the beginning of movement. The man connected to this message is not being exposed to harm him, but to remove interference. Some people do not attack directly. They drain quietly. They confuse subtly. They block unintentionally through unresolved darkness. When God decides to elevate, He removes what distorts peace. Chosen one, you may have questioned why this person was allowed so close, why discernment came slowly, why clarity took time. I have asked those same questions before. The answer often comes later. God allows proximity so that you can recognize patterns, not just personalities. What you learned in this season was not about Him, it was about sharpening your spiritual sight. That is preparation. That is training. That is part of your elevation. Anointed one, Heaven is intervening now because what is ahead of you requires a clean atmosphere. Supernatural alignment cannot coexist with quiet deception. Divine provision cannot flow freely where confusion lingers. The shift you are approaching carries increase, authority, and expansion, whether in peace, purpose, or provision. For some, this includes a financial shift that arrives suddenly once blockage is removed. For others, it is clarity that unlocks doors you could not open before. Either way, Heaven is backing this transition. Chosen one. I have learned that when God prepares to move you forward, He does not always explain everything first. He asks for trust. Trust to stay still. Trust to remain silent when emotions want to speak. Trust to let truth rise without your defense. This is one of those moments. You do not need to confront. You do not need to expose. Heaven is already handling what you sensed. Your peace is the confirmation that God is working. Anointed one, stay grounded in the ordinary while the spiritual shifts unfold. Wash the dishes, take the walk, breathe deeply. These small anchors keep your nervous system steady while Heaven rearranges unseen structures. You are safe, you are covered, you are not late. This is not the storm. This is the clearing before the promise. Chosen one. As this clearing continues, you may begin to notice how much energy you were carrying that was never truly yours. There are relationships that do not wound loudly, yet they weigh heavily over time. I have walked through seasons where I could not name the source of exhaustion, only to realize later that it came from being in proximity to someone living in quiet contradiction. Heaven is revealing this now because your next season demands strength that is not fragmented. What is being lifted from your life is not punishment, it is precision. Anointed one, understand this carefully. The exposure of this man is not sudden because truth has already been measured in the unseen. What feels like a turning point on earth has been decided in heaven long before now. There are moments when God allows things to appear stable so that when they are revealed, no one can deny the source. You are watching the visible echo of an invisible judgment. This is why you do not need to rush, explain, or defend. What is unfolding does not require your intervention. Chosen one, You may wonder why discernment came gradually instead of clearly at the beginning. That is often how God protects the heart. Full knowledge too early can harden compassion. Partial awareness keeps humility intact. I have learned that God rarely shows the entire picture at once, because He is shaping how we carry truth, not just what we know. You were allowed to trust because trust is not foolishness when it is offered before revelation. It is obedience. And now revelation has arrived. Anointed One, some of the delays you experienced were not resistance from heaven but containment. Certain doors could not open while this man remained close. Certain provisions could not flow while interference lingered in your field. This is especially true when divine increase is near. Heaven guards expansion carefully. When God prepares a wealth shift, whether financial, relational, or spiritual, He first removes the drain. What was siphoning your energy without your awareness is now being disconnected. Chosen One. I want to speak from lived experience here. There were times when I prayed for acceleration, not realizing that what I needed first was separation. When the separation finally happened, it felt like grief mixed with relief. That mixture is holy. It means your heart is intact and your discernment is active. If you feel both sadness and peace right now, you are responding correctly. God is not asking you to harden yourself. He is asking you to stay clear. Anointed One, the man connected to this word did not only affect you emotionally, he affected momentum. His unresolved inner life created subtle resistance in your path. This is not always intentional. Some people block simply by carrying disorder into shared space. Holiness cannot share alignment with hidden compromise. That is why God removes without needing your permission. He is protecting what He planted in you before you were aware of it. Chosen One, this is also why heaven is reminding you that justice does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like truth becoming undeniable without you saying a word. Sometimes it looks like patterns repeating until others can no longer ignore them. I have seen this happen where silence spoke louder than confrontation ever could. Let God handle the exposure. You are not meant to carry the weight of outcome. Anointed One, what comes next will feel lighter, even if circumstances do not immediately change. Lightness is often the first sign of breakthrough. When burden lifts before blessing arrives, it means alignment has been restored. This is when clarity sharpens, intuition strengthens, and peace returns without effort. The confusion that once followed you will begin to dissolve. You will make decisions more easily. You will rest more deeply. You will recognize what no longer belongs without overthinking it. Chosen One. For some watching, this moment is directly tied to provision. Financial flow that felt blocked will begin to move once this interference clears completely. It may arrive through unexpected channels, delayed confirmations, or sudden opportunities that require little striving. That is how heaven-backed provision often works. It does not exhaust you, it meets you. When increase comes from God, it carries peace with it. Anointed One, you are not being elevated because you are perfect. You are being elevated because you are willing to remain teachable, humble, and aligned. God does not entrust increase to those who need control. He entrusts it to those who can let go. That is why this removal matters. It is not about judgment, it is about readiness. Chosen One. You may notice memories resurfacing, conversations replaying in your mind, or moments from the past suddenly making sense. This is integration, not regression. Your mind is closing loops that were left open by confusion. Allow it to happen without judgment. Reflection is part of healing. Do not reach back to fix anything. Let understanding arrive quietly. Anointed One, resist the urge to announce what you are seeing. Silence in this hour is strength. There is power in allowing God to speak for you. I have learned that when truth rises on its own, it lasts longer and wounds less. Speak when peace moves you, not when emotion presses you. The right words will come later, or they may not be needed at all. Chosen One, as this segment closes, I want you to settle into one truth. You are not losing anything that was meant to follow you. You are shedding what could not cross into your next season. This is not an ending rooted in fear. It is a transition rooted in care. Heaven is making room, and what fills that space will reflect clarity, stability, and purpose. Stay still, stay grounded. What is unfolding is working in your favor, even if you do not yet see how. Chosen One, as the clearing deepens, you may begin to feel a strange quiet settling around you. Not emptiness, but space. Space where noise once lingered. Space where your thoughts no longer collide. This is often the first sign that heaven has stepped closer. I have learned that when God removes interference, He does not replace it immediately with explanation. He replaces it with stillness. That stillness is not passive. It is active alignment taking root beneath the surface of your life. Anointed One, do not be surprised if your body begins to respond before your circumstances do. You may notice your shoulders dropping without effort, your breath slowing, your sleep becoming deeper, even if questions remain unanswered. This is your nervous system releasing what it has carried for too long. There are seasons when the body knows before the mind catches up. God speaks through peace as clearly as He speaks through words. Chosen One, you were never meant to fight what heaven already resolved. There are moments when the greatest act of faith is restraint. When God steps in, He does not ask you to chase clarity. He asks you to receive it. This is why you are being called into stillness again and again. Stillness sharpens discernment. Noise dulls it. I have seen people miss their breakthrough not because they lacked faith, but because they moved too quickly when God was asking them to wait. Anointed One, the man whose presence once clouded your atmosphere no longer holds the same influence. Even if you still see him moving freely, his reach has been limited. Heaven has boundaries you cannot see, and those boundaries are now active. This is why your reactions are changing. You are no longer triggered the way you once were. That shift is not emotional numbness. It is authority returning to its rightful place. Chosen One, authority does not always announce itself. Sometimes it appears as calm in situations that once stirred fear. Sometimes it appears as silence where you once felt the need to explain. I remember a season when God taught me that peace was not avoidance. It was confirmation that I no longer needed to prove anything. That is the lesson unfolding in you now. When heaven fights for you, your voice becomes optional. Anointed One, this is also a season of recalibration. You may feel drawn to simplify your days, to reduce stimulation, to protect your time more fiercely. This is not withdrawal, it is wisdom. When God prepares to elevate you, He often reduces distraction first. What you are stepping into requires focus that cannot be sustained in chaos. Whether the elevation comes through provision, purpose, or placement, it will demand clarity as its foundation. Chosen One, for some, this recalibration will touch finances in subtle but powerful ways. You may find yourself spending less without effort, desiring simplicity over display. This is not lack, this is stewardship forming. Heaven-backed provision flows through hands that know how to hold without clinging. When wealth arrives suddenly, as it often does after long restraint, it tests not your faith, but your alignment. God prepares you internally before he moves externally. Anointed One, I want to speak plainly here. Not every delay was spiritual warfare. Some delays were protection from premature exposure. There are people who could not have handled access to your next season. There are eyes that were never meant to see what God is about to release through you. Separation is often the mercy that makes provision safe. I have seen what happens when increase arrives too early. It magnifies insecurity instead of purpose. God will not do that to you. Chosen One, you are being prepared to carry clarity without arrogance and authority without hardness. This is rare. This is why the process felt slow. Heaven is careful with those it intends to trust. You may have felt overlooked, but you were being observed. Not by people, but by God himself. He was watching how you responded when nothing made sense. He was shaping how you would move once everything did. Anointed One, you may feel the urge to review the past, to replay conversations, to reinterpret moments with new understanding. Let that happen gently. Do not rush to assign blame. Insight without compassion becomes bitterness. God is giving you understanding so you can be free, not so you can be heavy. Let wisdom replace resentment. That exchange is holy. Chosen One, this is also the season where discernment sharpens around your environment. Certain spaces may begin to feel uncomfortable, not because they are dangerous, but because they no longer match who you are becoming. Trust that sensation. It is guidance, not fear. I have left rooms that once felt safe, simply because my spirit outgrew the atmosphere. That is not rejection. That is alignment doing its quiet work. Anointed One, you may notice that your prayers are changing. They are becoming shorter, more focused, less emotional. This is maturity, not distance. God is not impressed by volume. He responds to truth. Sometimes a single, honest sentence carries more power than an hour of striving. Pray as you are, not as you think you should be. Heaven meets sincerity without ceremony. Chosen One, as this segment draws to a close, anchor yourself in this understanding. You are not in transition because something went wrong. You are in transition because something is about to align. The removal you experienced was not loss. It was space being made visible. Space for peace that does not require explanation. Space for provision that does not exhaust you. Space for purpose that feels steady instead of forced. Anointed One, remain grounded in the ordinary while the extraordinary prepares to surface. Eat well, rest when you can, walk slowly. These simple acts signal safety to your spirit. And when the next movement arrives, you will recognize it not by urgency, but by ease. That is how you will know it is from God. Chosen One, there is a particular fatigue that comes not from doubt, but from endurance. It settles in when the promise is no longer a question, yet the timing still stretches. I have known this weight personally, the kind that shows up quietly in the morning when you do everything right and nothing visibly changes. This is not weakness. This is the cost of staying faithful after certainty has already formed in the heart. Heaven sees this kind of perseverance more clearly than loud belief. Anointed One, the waiting you are in now is not empty space. It is active ground. Roots grow in darkness, not in display. There were seasons when I kept showing up to ordinary days while carrying something sacred that no one else could see. Folding laundry, answering emails, standing in traffic, all while knowing something had been spoken over my life that had not yet arrived. That kind of waiting teaches you how to live without needing constant reassurance. It teaches you to trust without performance. Chosen One, you are not being asked to generate emotion to keep the promise alive. You are being asked to remember. Remember what was settled when the noise fell away. Remember the calm that replaced confusion. Remember the clarity that did not need to be defended. This is the kind of faith that outlasts seasons. Emotional highs fade. Conviction remains. Heaven is not sustained by your excitement. It is honored by your consistency. Anointed one, there are days when faith looks like nothing more than getting up and continuing to be kind when recognition is absent, continuing to be honest when shortcuts present themselves, continuing to rest when the mind wants to race ahead. I have learned that God often measures trust not by what we declare, but by how we live when no new signs appear. Quiet obedience carries weight in the unseen. Chosen one, you may feel tired without feeling discouraged, and that distinction matters. Weariness does not cancel calling. It simply signals that you have been carrying responsibility for a long time. Heaven does not shame you for needing rest. It honors you for staying present without becoming bitter. There is a reason Scripture speaks of those who wait being renewed rather than rushed. Renewal happens slowly, layer by layer, until strength returns without force. Anointed one, this is also where remembrance becomes an anchor. Not nostalgia, but grounded recall. Remembering how far you have already come. Remembering prayers that were answered quietly. Remembering protection you only recognized in hindsight. I have found that when I intentionally recalled those moments, not to convince myself but to steady myself, the waiting became lighter. Faith does not always need explanation. Sometimes it needs familiarity. Chosen one, there is a simple truth I have come to carry. Faith is often steadied through small, repeatable reminders, rather than constant explanation or dramatic signs. Those reminders do not shout, they return. They meet you in the same place each time until strength rebuilds naturally. One such quiet reminder has been gently placed below, resting in the description or the pinned comment, and it remains there without demand. Anointed one, after that reminder, the work continues internally, not striving, but staying aligned. The promise matures in those who can hold it without rushing its arrival. This is where endurance becomes sacred, where patience stops feeling passive and starts feeling powerful. I have watched God move most clearly in seasons when nothing looked urgent. That is when alignment deepened and clarity stabilized. Chosen one, daily faith is not dramatic. It looks like choosing peace when anxiety tries to rehearse outcomes. It looks like refusing to speak prematurely about things that are still forming. It looks like trusting that what was removed will not be replaced with confusion. Your life does not need constant proof that heaven is near. The steadiness you feel is evidence enough. Anointed one, there may be moments when you wonder if you are doing enough. That question itself is often a sign that you are carrying this with care. God does not require you to earn what He already decided. He invites you to remain available. Availability looks like openness without desperation. It looks like movement without pressure. It looks like rest without guilt. Chosen one, this part of the journey shapes how you will carry what comes next. If the promise includes provision, this season teaches you stewardship before abundance. If it includes visibility, this season teaches you grounding before attention. If it includes authority, this season teaches you restraint before influence. Heaven prepares capacity before release. That is mercy, not delay. Anointed one, I want to speak gently into this space. You are allowed to feel tired without questioning the promise. You are allowed to move slowly without fearing loss. You are allowed to live fully in the present without rushing toward the future. God is not anxious about timing. He is exact. What is forming in you now will sustain what arrives later. Chosen one, As this part comes to a close, settle into the quiet strength that is already yours. You have not stalled. You have not drifted. You are standing in the middle of preparation that does not announce itself. This is the kind of season that builds endurance quietly and releases fruit suddenly. Stay steady, stay present. What has been promised is still moving, even when the movement is unseen. Chosen one. By now you may notice a quiet strengthening taking place beneath the surface. Not excitement, not urgency, but resolve. This is the kind of resolve that forms when you have walked long enough without collapsing and waited long enough without turning bitter. I have come to recognize this stage as sacred because it is where endurance turns into authority. What once felt like effort begins to feel like posture. You are no longer bracing yourself, you are standing. Anointed one, this is often the moment when the promise stops feeling distant and starts feeling integrated. It no longer lives only in prayer or imagination. It begins to shape how you respond, how you speak, how you choose rest over reaction. I remember a season when nothing outward had changed, yet inwardly everything had. My decisions became calmer, my reactions softened, my need to explain myself faded. That internal shift preceded every external breakthrough that followed. Chosen one. There is a discipline heaven forms in those it intends to trust. Not rigid control, but inner order. You are being trained to carry clarity without urgency and confidence without display. This is especially important when what is coming carries weight, influence, or provision. Sudden increase without inner order creates instability. God does not release what He has not already prepared you to hold. Anointed one, you may notice now that you are less interested in convincing others of what you know. This is not withdrawal, it is maturity. When truth settles deeply, it no longer needs constant validation. I have seen how God silences the urge to perform right before He moves visibly. That silence is not loss of voice, it is refinement of it. Chosen one. This part of the journey often includes subtle testing, not dramatic opposition, small frustrations, minor inconveniences, opportunities to compromise that look harmless. These moments reveal what has been formed in you. You are not being tempted because you are weak. You are being observed because you are ready. Heaven watches how you handle little things when you know something greater is forming. Anointed one, daily faith here looks like alignment without applause. It looks like choosing integrity when no one would notice the alternative. It looks like staying present instead of escaping into future fantasy. I have learned that God often releases suddenly after long seasons of apparent normalcy. That is why this stage matters. It teaches you to live fully where you are, not only where you are going. Chosen one. If what is ahead includes a wealth shift, this season is shaping how you will steward it. You are learning restraint, clarity, and simplicity before abundance arrives. I have seen how those who learned contentment early handled increase with peace later. Wealth does not test generosity as much as it tests grounding. God prepares your inner life so provision becomes a tool, not a burden. Anointed one, you may also feel a narrowing of focus. Certain conversations no longer interest you. Certain distractions lose their pull. This is not isolation, it is alignment. When God draws you inward, it is often because He is about to move you outward with precision. What you protect now will protect you later. Chosen one. There is also a quiet confidence forming that does not announce itself. You are less shaken by uncertainty, less reactive to noise, less dependent on outcomes to feel secure. That stability is rare. It is forged, not gifted. Heaven entrusts influence to those who are not easily destabilized by change. Anointed one, let yourself honor how far you have come without rushing what remains. You do not need to measure progress daily. Growth often reveals itself in hindsight. I have looked back on seasons that felt uneventful, only to realize they were building everything I needed next. Trust that process is active even when results are not yet visible. Chosen one. As this part settles, stay attentive but unstrained. You are not waiting for permission, you are being positioned. What comes next will not require you to scramble or prove readiness. It will meet you where you are already standing. This is the quiet strength that carries you forward. Remain steady. The foundation is set, and what is built upon it will endure. Chosen one. There is a shift that happens when preparation finishes its quiet work. It does not announce itself with urgency. It settles like certainty. You may feel it as a calm confidence that no longer asks for reassurance. This is the stage where alignment stops feeling fragile and starts feeling established. I have known this moment in my own journey when I realized I was no longer bracing for disappointment. I was simply present, grounded, and ready without striving. Anointed one, this is often when the external world begins to respond differently. Not dramatically at first, but subtly. Conversations change tone. Opportunities appear without force. Resistance loses its grip. What once required effort begins to move with ease. That ease is not coincidence. It is the result of alignment reaching maturity. Heaven responds to readiness, not urgency. Chosen one. You may notice that you are less reactive now. Situations that once stirred emotion barely register. This is not indifference. It is authority settling in the body. Authority does not need to dominate or correct. It simply stands firm. I have seen how God anchors his people internally before he entrusts them with visible responsibility. When authority arrives before grounding, it collapses. When grounding arrives first, authority holds. Anointed one, this is also where trust deepens without effort. You are no longer rehearsing the promise to keep it alive. It lives in you naturally. That is how you know it is real. When something is truly from God, it does not require constant reinforcement. It becomes part of how you move through ordinary days. You carry it quietly, the way a tree carries sap long before fruit appears. Chosen one. There may be moments now where you sense movement approaching, not as anxiety, but as readiness. This is different from anticipation. Anticipation pulls forward. Readiness stands still. I have learned that God often moves fastest when we are no longer leaning toward the future. When we are fully present, he brings what is next to us. Anointed one, pay attention to how your discernment has sharpened. You see more clearly without analyzing. You recognize alignment without explanation. This is the fruit of waiting well. Discernment refined through endurance is steady and accurate. It does not rush to label or judge. It simply knows. That knowing is protection. Chosen one. If what is coming includes increased responsibility, influence, or provision, this stage ensures that you can carry it without losing yourself. Many people ask for expansion without understanding its cost. Expansion magnifies everything that exists internally. God does not rush that process for those he intends to preserve. He builds depth before width. You are experiencing that depth now. Anointed one, you may feel drawn to close unfinished loops in your life, not out of fear, but out of clarity. Small adjustments, quiet boundaries, gentle endings. This is wisdom, not withdrawal. When God prepares to open something new, He often invites us to leave space intentionally. What you release now creates room for what will arrive without strain. Chosen one, I want to acknowledge something important. There were moments when you stayed faithful without feeling inspired. That matters. Inspiration fades, faithfulness remains. I have seen God honor those seasons more than any visible act of devotion. Showing up when nothing moved outwardly formed a resilience that cannot be shaken by change. Anointed one, this resilience is what allows sudden shifts to be received without chaos. When God moves quickly, He moves into prepared ground. That is why this journey unfolded gradually. You are not being surprised by what comes next. You are meeting it from a place of stability. Chosen one, notice how your inner dialogue has changed. You speak to yourself with more patience. You allow space for rest without guilt. These are signs of healing, integrated, not just understood. Integrated healing becomes capacity. Capacity attracts trust. Trust invites release. Anointed one, this is also where gratitude becomes quieter, not performative, not declared, simply present. I have found that when gratitude settles deeply, it no longer needs to be named constantly. It shapes how you receive and how you give. That posture keeps the heart open as expansion arrives. Chosen one, as this part comes to rest, recognize where you are standing. You are not waiting for permission. You are not chasing confirmation. You are aligned and available. What unfolds next will not require you to change who you are. It will meet the version of you that has already been formed through endurance, clarity, and restraint. Remain steady. The ground beneath you is ready, and what approaches will recognize that readiness without effort. Chosen one. At this stage, something subtle but unmistakable begins to happen. You stop scanning the horizon for signs. You stop checking the door to see if it is about to open, not because expectation died, but because trust matured. This is where faith becomes embodied. It lives in how you move, how you speak, how you respond to the ordinary moments that once felt heavy. I have known this shift myself, the moment when waiting no longer felt like suspension, but like readiness already achieved. Anointed one, this is often when heaven tests not your belief, but your posture. Can you remain grounded when movement begins to whisper? Can you stay gentle when momentum returns? Many people imagine elevation as a rush, but I have seen that true elevation arrives quietly, almost respectfully. It does not shove you forward. It meets you where you are already standing. Chosen one, you may notice that people respond to you differently now, not because you are trying to influence them, but because your presence has changed. There is less urgency in your energy, less need to explain or persuade. Authority that has been formed in silence carries a different weight. I have watched conversations soften simply because I no longer needed to be understood. That shift did more than any argument ever could. Anointed one, this is also where discernment becomes relational. You sense who can walk with you into what is coming and who must remain behind without resentment. There is no drama in this knowing, just clarity. God does not ask you to sever violently what He is asking you to release gently. When alignment is real, separation happens without force. Chosen one, you may feel an internal invitation to simplify even further. Fewer commitments, cleaner rhythms, more intentional rest. This is not shrinking, it is consolidation. Before God expands your reach, He often condenses your focus. I have learned that clarity multiplies impact more than effort ever could. What you protect now will amplify what comes next. Anointed one, There is also a quiet confidence forming around provision, not certainty of how, but certainty of source. When you know where provision comes from, you stop chasing channels. This is especially important if what is coming includes financial movement or resource alignment. Chasing drains energy. Trust concentrates it. Heaven moves through those who are not scattered. Chosen one. I want to acknowledge the unseen courage it took to arrive here. You did not quit when it would have been easier to disengage. You did not harden when disappointment brushed past you. You did not become cynical when answers delayed. That matters. God does not overlook resilience that is built without applause. What you endured quietly has formed strength that will be visible later. Anointed one, this is also the stage where the past loses its grip, not because it is erased, but because it no longer defines movement. Memories may still surface, but they no longer dictate decisions. I have experienced that freedom when reflection no longer carried charge. That is healing completed enough to support expansion. Chosen one. If what is ahead includes visibility, this season has taught you how to remain yourself when eyes turn toward you. If it includes provision, this season has taught you how to remain grounded when resources increase. If it includes leadership, this season has taught you how to listen before you speak. God prepares the inner environment before he changes the outer one. Anointed one, pay attention to how little you feel the need to rush. That is not complacency, it is trust, embodied. Rushing often signals fear of missing out. Stillness signals confidence that what is meant for you will not pass you by. Heaven honors that posture. Chosen one. There may be moments now where movement feels imminent, like something is aligning just out of sight. Do not lean into that feeling. Let it come to you. I have learned that leaning forward too soon disturbs balance. When God moves, he moves toward you as much as he moves you forward. Mutual motion is alignment. Anointed one, this part of the journey refines how you receive. You are learning to receive without grabbing, to welcome without clinging. That is rare. Many people can receive blessings, few can receive them well. Receiving well keeps the heart open and the hands free. Chosen one. As this part draws toward its close, anchor yourself in what is already stable. Your breath, your routines, your quiet moments of gratitude. These are not placeholders, they are foundations. What comes next will rest on what you have built here. And because this foundation was formed slowly, it will not crack under weight. Anointed one, remain present, remain available, remain unforced. You are not waiting for something to begin. You are standing in the final moments before movement becomes visible. What unfolds next will not surprise your spirit. It will recognize you as already prepared. Chosen one. This is the moment where everything you have carried quietly begins to settle into its rightful place. Not as a climax, not as spectacle, but as confirmation. You are no longer being shaped for what is coming. You have been shaped. What remains now is the unveiling of alignment that has already occurred within you. I have learned that God rarely announces this phase. He allows you to recognize it by the absence of strain. Anointed one, there is a calm readiness in you now that does not rush toward outcome. That calm is not passive. It is strength under control. It is the posture of someone who knows that what is meant for them does not require pursuit. It arrives. When heaven moves at this stage, it does not ask you to become someone new. It meets the version of you that has already been formed through endurance. Chosen one. You may notice that your prayers have become quieter, more spacious, less asking, more awareness. This is not distance from God. it is closeness. When trust deepens, words reduce. I have experienced seasons where prayer shifted from pleading to presence. Those were the seasons right before movement became visible. God does not need to be convinced. He responds to alignment. Anointed One, this is also where release completes itself. Not just release of people or situations, but release of internal weight. Expectations loosen, comparisons fade. The need to measure progress dissolves. That freedom is not accidental. It is the result of a heart that no longer needs proof to stay open. Heaven moves freely through hearts like that. Chosen One, if what unfolds next includes sudden opportunity, provision, or elevation, you will recognize it by how little it disrupts your peace. True alignment does not throw you into chaos. It integrates into your life naturally. I have seen blessings arrive that felt almost understated, yet they changed everything. When something comes from God, it fits. Even when it stretches you, it does not fracture you. Anointed One, there may be a brief moment where movement feels almost unreal, where you wonder if you are misreading the moment because it arrives without drama. Trust that. Heaven does not need theatrics to confirm truth. Often the most significant shifts arrive quietly because they are built on foundations that were formed slowly. Chosen One, you are also stepping into a season where your discernment protects not only you, but what flows through you. Influence, provision, and authority require boundaries that are lived, not announced. You have learned that. You know when to speak and when to remain still. That wisdom will preserve what is given to you. Anointed One, I want to acknowledge something that deserves honor. You stayed tender without becoming naive. You stayed discerning without becoming hardened. That balance is rare. It is forged, not taught. God entrusts increase to those who can hold both truth and compassion at the same time. That is who you have become, Chosen One. As the movement becomes visible, resist the urge to revisit what has already been cleared. Do not look back to confirm separation. Do not re-enter spaces that were closed gently. Forward motion does not require backward reference. What has been removed served its purpose in your formation. It does not belong in your future. Anointed One, you may find that gratitude begins to express itself through generosity of spirit rather than words. Patience with others, calm in conversation, presence in ordinary moments. These are signs that abundance is no longer something you anticipate. It is something you carry internally. External provision often follows internal abundance. Chosen One, this is also the season where trust extends beyond outcomes. You trust God not only for what He gives, but for how He gives it. Timing, sequence, context. You no longer feel the need to control the unfolding. That surrender is not resignation, it is partnership. God moves most freely with those who are not gripping the process. Anointed One, as this body of work comes to its natural close, remain where you are without drifting ahead mentally. There is no advantage in arriving early to what has not yet presented itself. Stay rooted in your rhythms, your breath, your days. This grounded presence is what allows you to receive fully when the door opens. Chosen One, you are not standing at the edge of uncertainty. You are standing at the edge of manifestation that has already been prepared for. What moves next will not shock your spirit. It will feel familiar, as if something you have carried quietly has finally found its place in the world. Remain steady. Remain open. The path ahead is clear, and you are already aligned to walk it without force. Chosen One, this was the clearing, and you have crossed it with reverence and courage. What heaven removed was not taken to diminish you, but to make room for what you could not yet see. You asked for peace and were given truth. You asked for clarity and were given alignment. Even now, a supernatural transfer is already in motion, not hurried, not delayed, but unfolding at the exact moment your spirit was prepared to receive it. This is your Kairos hour, your appointed time, where restraint turns into release and faith meets fulfillment. Anointed one, remain faithful and steady as what has been promised begins to surface. You do not need to chase what heaven is delivering. Walk forward with gratitude, guard your peace, and stay aligned with the flow of the anointing that has carried you this far. If your heart is moved to affirm this moment, let your quiet agreement be known. And if this word has brought light, allow it to reach those who are also standing at the edge of their turning. There is also something simple and steady prepared in the pinned comment and the description, a quiet reminder placed there for moments when the heart needs grounding more than explanation. Chosen one, may peace settle over you, may wisdom guard your steps, and may what has been set in motion arrive without strain. You are covered, you are aligned, and you are ready for what is about to manifest.